Okay, so we're done with the wire tap to the fuel pump. You can't even see that it's done now. Kind of a bit of a sleeper mod. So next up we've got our data link connector. Now where the hell did that go? It's around here someplace. I know it's hanging. I just undid my other chip. So it's down there. I'll get it hooked up next and then we'll figure out what's going on after that. Okay, so our data link connector right down here. Ah shit, you can't really see it. It's just underneath the stock fuel filter housing, which is right here. So sorry about the light here, but it's just down. Oh, there, now we can see it. This is your data link connector right here, just underneath your stock fuel filter housing, and that's where that connects into. There's normally just a block off plug in there, but since I already had the old chip in there, all I had to do is unplug it and plug in the new Edge wiring harness. Okay, so since I'm running a fast fuel system, this is the new fitting that I have that goes into my injection pump. So there's no more banjo bolt fitting or banjo bolt that holds the fuel line on. I have this teed in here. This is my snubber and fuel pressure sending unit for my odometer gauges that I have. That's the fuel pressure gauge on the steering column. Now if you're going to run one of these, that snubber is very important. All it does is it stops fuel pressure spikes from destroying your sending unit or your gauge. So if you're running like a 30-pound gauge, one of those is a must. I know a fellow that's running a 100-pound gauge because he kept blowing 30-pound gauges and sending units. So I'm going to be putting in my other sending unit for the Edge. I'm going to take apart this end here and I'm going to attach another fitting so I can have my two sending units, one for the Edge and one for my fuel gauge. Okay, I will be back when this is together. Okay, so I have my new manifold doohickey done for my fuel line. I'm going to put that back in the truck, connect up the fuel line. This one is for the Edge, this one is for my gauge. Okay, so we got the fuel pressure sending units back in. This one over here is for the gauge. Oh, sorry about the focus. And this one here is for the Edge, and the one back here is for the gauge. Connected back in line, all the clamps tightened up. Okay, so underneath here we're going to be putting our transmission temperature sending unit, which goes right there. That little plug is. So this is the passenger side, and that plug is facing the back of the truck. Up that way is the motor. And right here you can see I've already got the one for my gauge. So I'm going to tap into that existing port for the Edge. Okay, so there we are. The transmission temperature sending unit is in that port, like I said, in the back side of the transmission. And I ran my wires across and up underneath the bottom to avoid the exhaust. Okay, so here we have the exhaust manifold. I already have the one EGT probe in there for my barometer gauge. I'm going to put the other one in right next to it for the Edge. So that's going to be next. Okay, so I got my other EGT probe in. Got the wires run nicely down over to my harness. So that's all finished. Now when you go to drill and tap that, there's a couple ways to do it. One, the best way, of course, is to pull the turbo completely off, but I wasn't about to do that. That's a fairly big and involved job. The second is you can drill and tap your manifold with the engine running. Now, seeing as how I have it all apart, I kind of screwed up there, and I should have actually drilled that hole before I even got the whole thing started. So I kind of whatever. And then of course the third way is the method that I had used is I dipped my drill bit and my taps in grease. So it had a bit of grease on there when I was drilling it out and tapping it out. And I also had a shot vac stuffed up in this area to collect any of the filings, and I just drilled it out slowly. So there you go. That's all done. Now all I have to do is run my Attitude monitor wire into the cab, which I'll do through the firewall down in behind the brakes here, the master cylinder, and then I have to just finish connecting my ground wire, and that should be it. Hook the batteries back up and away we go. So I'll get her done. Okay, so there's the edge juice with the Attitude monitor. You can see this wiring harness is connected. Got my wires all routed now. So here's my connection for the Attitude monitor. I don't know if you have to tape it up or not, but I thought maybe it was a good idea just because it was going to be under the hood here. It's more like a computer type of connection than it is an automotive. I still have to hook up my ground wire here. Haven't done that quite yet, just doing one final check. So we've got our fuel pressure sending unit, it's connected. Our map sensor back there is connected. Our data link, which is down below, is connected. Our pump wire is connected. So we've got all those. We've got our new EGT probe in there. So those are all connected. I've got my power wire going into here, into my fuse panel, into the spare fuse position with my extra fuse in there. So that one's done. And we'll come around here. You can see where I mounted the Attitude monitor. It's kind of out of the way, but at least I can reach up in here and change the settings on the fly, pushing on the buttons. Fairly easy. Okay, so to do that, I just, it comes with a little bracket. You can see the wire underneath. I had to file just a small little round area here. The wire actually comes down and runs in behind, beside the headlight switch, and then down under the dash through the grommet into the engine bay. Here we go. We've got our wire number 9, or sorry, our turbo cool down wire going into the number 9 fuse, and I think that should be about it. The only thing I have to do is bleed the fuel system before I actually fire it up, and that's just done right here. This is your return line back to the tank. This is the feed from my fast fuel system. So I'll just crack this loose, and once I crack that loose, just kick the engine a little bit till we get some fuel flowing without the engine running, and then once I get fuel flowing I will tighten that back up, and we're good to go. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll fire it up. Okay, well, as you can see, we got the edge all in, edge juice with the Attitude monitor. It's all done. As for now, I've just got the display on the edge set up somewhat similar to what I have for my gauges. My boost, EGTs, fuel pressure, and Tranny temps. I just did that for now. I just want to see how accurate my analog gauges are. So far it says my Tranny is 250-ish. My gauge showing a little different. Fuel pressure right around 16 pounds, right around 16 pounds. It cycles like that because the edge, the fast system is relieving back to the tank a little bit. There you go. Doesn't do that when you're driving. Okay, so it was a success. There you go. We installed an edge juice with Attitude. I'll rev it up a little for you. Okay. Peace. Okay, so the juice with Attitude is in the truck. I took it for a test drive, and it's working really well. I'm very impressed. Good quality product, easy to use, and the power is phenomenal. The little chip I had is equivalent to the number 1 setting on the juice. Number 5 is just unbelievable. What I did was I used the 0 to 60 time measurement on the juice with Attitude. First I did it on the stock setting, and I got 12.1 seconds. Then I did it with the extreme setting, which is setting number 5,
and I brought that down to 6.8 seconds, so it just about cut my 0 to 60 times in half. It's a very good product, and very happy with it. I highly recommend it to anybody. Okay, thanks for watching.